Hello my beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. On here I like to talk about things all to do with building your self-confidence, helping you become the best version of yourself and encouraging you to show up as your authentic self without any apologies. So if this sounds like your vibe, feel free to like and subscribe. Do you find yourself getting stuck in your thoughts or spiraling because you feel like you're out of control and you just can't get your brain to shut up? Well, if that is the case, then this video is going to help you majorly. I've put together some information that has helped me from being a spiraling mess to feeling calmer and more centered and being able to not just catch my thoughts, but redirect them so that I'm not getting caught up and feeling overwhelmed and letting them control my life. So stick around, grab a drink, get a pen and paper, and let's get into it. Oh my god, overthinking, the absolute bane of our lives. Something that just feels all-consuming. You feel like your thoughts are going round and round and round, and you just think, how did I come across? Did I come across okay? Did that person think that I was rude? You know, what the hell is going on? This could happen. Oh my god, like it's gonna be the end of the world. That must mean that everything's going wrong. Everything's happening badly. Oh my god, if I don't do it perfectly, I'm going to fail. So that's exactly how overthinking will show up in your brain. It's so frustrating, and it's one of those things where you just can't help but let it consume you. So I say this because you're not alone. And we're going to go through some of the ways that it can show up for you, how to catch it, reframe it, and manage it. And just because you get the overthinking under control doesn't mean it won't happen again and it won't come up, but it's just ways to manage it and make it easier for you. Overthinking can be triggered by a magnitude of things. It can be things like fear, it can be things like perfectionism. I am very much trying to learn this because I think a lot of us are guilty of trying to be perfectionists, and we hold ourselves to really high standards and we put so much pressure on ourselves to the point where we're like, this isn't perfect, and if it's not perfect, it's not good enough and it's going to fail. And then it causes you to go into the overthinking spiral and just overall high stressful situations. But the good news is we're not stuck in this mindset forever, and there is a way of getting out of it. It's time to switch that unhelpful mindset of everything's going wrong for me, nothing's working out for me, to how is this going to work out for me, and getting more into the solution mindset rather than the overthinking mindset. Let's talk about the patterns of overthinking, how they can show up and how we're going to reframe them to help you move forward and catch them before you go into that spiral. And there are 6 ways that I found that it can show up for you and the pattern. So the first pattern is black or white thinking, so the all or nothing mindset. So the way this can show up is, if this isn't perfect, I have failed completely. So if you're a perfectionist, you'll be able to resonate with this one because you think that everything has to be perfect and everything has to be done T's and I's dotted. You know, that makes no sense. That made no sense, but we're letting go of the perfectionist mindset. But you basically think that all my work has to be on point, and if it's not worthy enough or it's not good enough. So the way we're going to reframe that is, even if it's not perfect, I did my best. And what can I learn next time from this? What can I do next time to make it better and to improve it? Another way this pattern can show up is catastrophizing, so expecting the worst case scenario. So I've done this before. I was speaking to some friends and they've gone, oh my god, I do that. And until I researched all of this, I didn't realise that this was patterns of overthinking. But the way that this can show up is, what if I fail everything? I'll never recover. Like, I'm never going to get over this. Like, what happens if I fail? But actually, the way to reframe that is, what's most likely to happen? And for the solution mindset, how can I handle if it does? And also, what happens if I fail? What happens if I succeed? You know, trying to think of both situations and
again, catching yourself when you notice that thought coming up and you're going, oh, I'm just catastrophizing. This isn't the worst. The worst case scenario isn't necessarily going to happen. The next one is overgeneralizing, so assuming one negative outcome applies to all. So that can tie into other ones as well, but the way that this can show up is, this always happens and I'll never get it right. You know, I just think that I have this happen every time, so I might as well just not bother anymore. But one outcome doesn't define the future, and it doesn't define the other outcomes. So just because that happened to you that time doesn't actually mean that every time it's going to happen like that. And obviously they always say about the power of the mind, and the more you focus on what could go wrong, it might be that you're putting too much energy on what could go wrong when, like I said before, what could go wrong? What happens if I succeed? And another one that's very common is second guessing and just having decision anxiety. So, did I make the wrong choice? Oh my god, that decision I made, was that the right decision? But you never know at the time. You basically, like I've said here, I made the best choice with the information I had at the time. So you could look back at a decision before and go, oh, I shouldn't have done that decision, I shouldn't have made that. But you did the best you could at that time with that information you were given. And if you knew what you knew now, then of course you would choose differently. So again, there's nothing wrong with making a decision that doesn't end up being the right one. Doesn't mean you failed or anything wrong. It just means you can go, okay. Another way that overthinking can show up is replaying scenarios and fixation on uncontrollable things. You can feel like you're just replaying every situation, like, how did I come across? Did that person think I was mean or rude? You know, and your mind feels like it's going through a massive carousel of information. It just goes round and round and round and round and you can't stop. But it's about, first of all, taking a breather, because sometimes you just feel so overwhelmed that you just can't get out of it. So it's first of all realising that's what's happening, take a second, breathe your way through it, and try and say to yourself, I can focus on what I can control and let go of the rest. It's very easy said than done, and again, these sort of things take time. It's not just something you can go, I'm perfect at this now, because that's not how it works. It's about catching it and knowing it, first of all, that it's a pattern of overthinking, and then going, okay, and think back to this video and go, I remember when we were talking about this certain thing and I'm doing this now. So actually, let me catch myself before I go into that spiral, because actually this is related to overthinking. And sometimes knowing where things come from, you can move on from it easier and understand it a bit more. And I think also when you constantly worry, which is another one, your mind just feels like it won't stop. And again, it's very similar to the replaying scenarios. Your mind feels like it can't stop, and your brain's just going on overload, and you just can't think of anything else, and your heart is beating and racing, and you just feel so in your own mind that you just, again, you can't stop. A good way to reframe this is affirming that my thoughts aren't facts and my brain can rest now. And sometimes you just need to repeat it to yourself. My thoughts aren't facts, my brain can rest now. And I think the key thing of all of this is learning to be kinder to yourself. Because again, like me, before I researched into it and looked into it, I didn't realise that these were patterns of overthinking. I just thought that they were patterns and thought processes that I had on a daily basis, and that it was just, you know, it's part of my life. But actually, realising that this is overthinking and this is something that I can control and I can change opened up a whole new door for me. I was like, incredible, let's get on top of that pattern and let's stop ourselves from letting it control our lives and take the control back. So going from overthinking to solution mindset, that's what we want at the end. But again, it's a journey, it's a process, and it's not going to happen overnight. So try not to get too disheartened if you feel like you're catching yourself but then you're getting overwhelmed, because again, you want to feel the emotion, you don't want the emotion to just go, but it's the end result is noticing the pattern. The emotion will come up for you, just letting that go past, and then just letting you get back to where you're feeling a bit more centered and a bit more calm, and you can get on about your day. And over time, you'll literally just have the thought in your mind of, oh, that's a pattern, it'll just pass. And that's where we want to get to, but again, it takes time. So just remember to be kind to yourself.